Good morning, Michael and Sarah. Thank you again for coming in today to discuss Grace's results. So to recap our discussion from last session, you both had concerns relating to her speech and language. In particular, you found that Grace was quite hard to understand. Is that correct? So as you may recall, I did complete a variety of assessments which indicated that Grace had a speech sound disorder. However, I also noticed that Grace didn't quite perform as well in two language screeners. So to investigate Grace's language ability further, I administered the Clinical Evaluation of Language Fundamentals Preschool, 2nd edition, otherwise known as the CELF-P2, shorter name. I used the Australian and New Zealand edition, which was published in April 2006 in Sydney, Australia. I chose to administer this assessment because it measures a broad range of expressive and receptive language skills. Receptive language being the ability to understand language of others, and expressive language looks at Grace's ability to use words to express herself. This assessment helps identify if a child has a language delay or disorder, so it's quite handy. The test is suitable for children aged between 3 to 6 and 11 months, thus appropriate for Grace, who is 4 and 4 months. So the CELF-P2 is made up of 7 subtests, the subtests being sentence structure, word structure, expressive vocabulary, concepts and following directions, basic concepts, recalling sentences, pre-literacy rating scales, recalling sentences in context, and descriptive pragmatics profile. However, I only wanted to measure Grace's general ability, so I administered the 3 subtests of the CELF-P2, which could derive a core language score. So what a core language score is? A core language score is considered to be one of the most representative measures of a child's language skills, as it provides an easy and reliable way to quantify a child's overall language ability. The subtests I administered were sentence structure, word structure, and expressive vocabulary. The sentence structure subtest is used to look at a child's ability to interpret spoken sentences of increasing length and complexity, which is quite important. So for this subtest, Grace was asked to point to the picture that illustrates a given sentence. This subtest gives us information on how she understands spoken sentences, which is really important. The word structure subtest was used to look at a child's knowledge of grammatical rules in sentences. So they were required to do a sentence completion task. Grace was asked to complete a sentence which pertains to an illustration using the targeted word structures. So information from this subtest allows us to determine how Grace is acquiring the structural skills of English language. Lastly, the expressive vocabulary subtest is used to evaluate a child's ability to label pictures of people, objects, and actions, something that she might do every day. Information from this subtest can be used to determine how Grace is able to name objects, people, and activities in her home environment. The administration of these 3 subtests took roughly between 15 to 20 minutes. However, if I were to administer the remaining 4 subtests, obviously it would take quite a bit longer and would also be dependent on her language ability to complete these subtests. It could take anywhere up to 45 minutes in total or even longer. So from these subtests, I added up the scores and I gave her a core language index standardized score. So Grace achieved a core language index standard score of 82. A standard score of 100 represents the performance of a typically developing child of a given age, with scores between 86 and 114 considered within the average range. Grace's standard score was then converted into a percentile ranking to see where she compares to children her age. So the standard score of 82 converted to a percentile ranking of 12, which means she did as well or better than 12% of children her age. So what does that mean? It's all just numbers really right now. So to put this into perspective, a percentile ranking of 1 to 2 is considered a severe delay, 3 to 6 is considered a moderate delay, and 7 to 16 indicates mild difficulties. Percentile ranks from 17 to 83 is within your average range, and anything above that is above average. So Grace's score of 12 indicates that she's mildly below the average range of language developmental functioning for her age. However, not to worry, there are a couple of goals which we can target in therapy with the aim of improving these skills. Do you have any questions about the interpretation of her scores or any questions in general? Okay, not to worry. Thanks for coming in today, and I'll see you again next week so we can discuss what our goals are and to commence therapy to target the things that we would like to target. Thanks again. Bye.